the Lord early. We're gonna start now.
Good evening, everyone. Welcome to another beautiful day with us on Live with Lloyd. I'm your host, astronumerologist Lloyd Strayhorn. It is a Wednesday, and we are in the first week of September. It's really nice. So, anyway, as you see, my distinguished guest is on the screen. He will be joining us in a moment. Is uh, Dr. Levitt or Dr. Hackett. I call him Uchenna. That's my buddy. So anyway, I'll talk about that. But before I do, let me just say this. Okay, here we go. First order of things, I want to thank Jazz Aphrodite for sitting in for me last Monday and Tuesday. Much appreciated. Two, I want to thank Corey and Vanessa Bent in London that really give me royal treatment. Three, I want to thank my buddy, King Simon, who made it possible for me to he referred them to me. They reached out to me and I got there. So, but it wouldn't have happened had it not been for the generosity and graciousness of King Simon. So to him, I honor him very much for that. It was a wonderful experience. I will share with you maybe some pictures, not everything like that, but some pictures I took for those that might be interested. Anyway, before I get started, I have a number of sponsors today. One of them, of course, is Nicholas Brooklyn. They're at 1396 Fulton Street in Brooklyn, New York City. They're celebrating over 50 years of being in business. This coming weekend of the 6th and the 7th, Saturday and Sunday, they are having their closing summer weekend. And it's going to be there at 1396 from 11 a.m. to 7 p.m. So those that are in the vicinity, please reach out to join them. All righty. Then we have Queen Bee, which is Melinda Valentine, who is offering her discount. I know it went to August 29th, but I think it still might be on sale. But what she's also done, Melinda Valentine, is she's published 4 books. They are seasonal books. This one is in the sign, we're in the earth sign of Virgo. Then the next after that will be the air sign of Libra. And then after that would be the water sign of Scorpio. And then after that would be the fire sign of Sagittarius. So from Sagittarius to Scorpio to Leo to the sign we were in now, Virgo. She's published these books. They're really excellent. They're journals. And these are the things that she's been doing. So she's been doing some work. I don't know whether you saw her yesterday on Biggie Astrology, where I didn't know she knew that much about sports. That's interesting. And Melinda and Portia are having a joint venture coming up on Saturday, October the 11th. All right. So also, I have a brand new sponsor as well. His Recept. I will have him featured on Monday, September the 15th, where he talks about this. This is an AI receptionist. He's tried it when he came to visit here in the States. When he was in my home, we tried it. And it's very, very interesting AI, but it acts as your secretary, sets appointments and things like that. So he's going to be talking about that. So if you're interested, click on the QR code. Also, Miss Kimberly, Manifest on Purpose. She has a show called Manifest on Purpose. Also, Astronumerology Reveals. She is also, as you know, an astronumerologist, business astronumerologist. So go to KIMBALEY. And surprise, surprise, she has now authored this book. The book is called The Business of Numerology. For those of you who want to set up a business and whatnot, this is the place. Just click on the QR code at the bottom right corner of the screen, and you can order the book. The book is now available on Amazon, is now available in ebook. And one of the books that's going to be available soon is for my guest, Master 24 Hours Master Life by Uchenna Hackett, one of my best friends. And in fact, when I'm speaking of giving thanks, it is this gentleman you're going to see in just a moment who was responsible for me actually starting the app. It took me about a year and a half. I'm a little slow sometimes, but I got it. And now the app is about two and a half years in progress. also is responsible for introducing me to Udemy, which I have my online series, Live with Lloyd series, How to Read a Person Like a Book, The Next Step in Numerology, and the do's and don'ts of numerology. So this man I need. So without further ado, let me bring him on. Dr. Hackett, Uchenna to me. Okay, so that's how that's gonna be, buddy. You know, listen,
Well,
it's so interesting. First of all, Chenna, thank you so much for being on. I like the background. I like the screen. How you doing, buddy?
I am very blessed, I am very thankful to be here with you again. I have made such a big promise on my last show that my
Hmm.
book would be out. My soul said I was a little bit ahead of myself there, and revelation just kept coming. So I have to say that I'm happy that I didn't rush and put it out. Normally I tend to rush sometimes,
Hmm.
but this time of my life, my soul said, take it easy. I have more stuff to give you, and believe me, this book now is what it was then and what it is now. Just
I received, you sent me chapter 2. I didn't know I would use so much paper just getting to this because this is interesting. In your chapter 2 is called The Science of Soul, the Era of Soul First Evidence-Based Wellness. There's it's interesting. For those of you now, I'll let you explain it more. What Chenna has done is he's come up with a whole nother concept that transcends anything that I've ever seen. It's a car and a bar. I'll let him explain the car and the bar, but it comes from the month, the date, the year you're born, the birthday, and stuff like that you conceived. And with it, when he sent me samples of the chapter, I was just absolutely amazed. And so this is something I've never ever seen. So I have to give this man credit to himself. Thank you very much for bringing a whole new concept. What makes this concept of what you do extraordinary about having a soul? It's interesting. This country here is about the bottom line, the profit, but it doesn't seem to have a soul. What
yes.
say you about the book you're coming out with?
Well, chiology is simply the science of the soul. About 3,000 years ago, our ancestors in Kemet, they walked, soul and science were married. There was no separation between science and soul. So Imhotep, the world's first physician and architect, he built the step pyramid of Doja. And in fact, which was the first pyramid in the world, by the way, for people who don't know that. And it was quite a monument of achievement. But his biggest achievement, I would say, is where he worked as a physician, as a seer. Today, people who see into the future, I have a client who's a seer, and she told her husband 1 year before his brother was going to die, she told him that he was going to die on this exact day, on this exact time. And when the day and time arrived, his phone rang as she saw. And she said, go ahead, answer the phone. And because he, of course, is married to her, so he knows she's always correct. And of course, unfortunately, what she saw ahead of time was true. There's a lot of confusion because in the CIA did their Stargate program. I'm not sure if you heard of it, where they actually had psychics or seers, or they would call them clairvoyant or extra sensing
Yeah, I'm
perception,
aware of this.
ESP.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
And you had one of the guys from Italy, his name is Yuri, and he was the guy who did Matrix, the movie where they bend the spoon.
Yes,
He was
Yuri
actually
Geller.
known for bending spoons. And
Mm-hmm.
so the thing is, we have all these different names. We call it intuition, we call it deja vu, but the soul has two very separate, let me call it energetic expressions. Okay?
Mm-hmm.
But society has given us so many names for soul that the clarity of the power of what we have and how it translates into science now is where chaology is very clear. So I'm going to just look at the two arms of the soul. So your soul affects biology. So last time I was on your show, I said that you have machines today, and not just machines, but many studies that prove, for example, that purpose extends life more than any herb, exercise, anything. It purpose, which all of us have a different one, and your soul speaks to you every day and says, "This is what your purpose is."
Hold up,
You
hold
look
up.
it was lucky.
You're saying that just if you have a purpose, that in and of itself will extend your existence on this planet?
7 years, and this was a longitudinal, a long study, 10 years. So it wasn't a short study. Okay. I don't want to get into the science of the studies because I have many other studies in the book. So the book tells you every study, okay? It shows that truth, for example, extends life. Forgiveness, for example, extends life. They did a study of people with HIV. And when they journaled about things that was heavy on their heart, their CD4 count raised, the immune system raised. So I have a chart which I call the car synergy model, which shows, it's the first chart in the world to show that the soul powers the brain, brain powers thoughts, thoughts create the cells, the environment that cells live in, and then the cells send the signal back to the soul that says, I am in harmony, and then the soul gives you more energy. Because we have a current that runs through all of us as humans, okay? That current we call, religion calls that the breath of life, okay? But that is your soul. The same soul that is clairvoyant, the same soul that sees the future, the same soul that when you lie, if we hook you up to an HRV machine, the space in between the machine, okay, so HRV is heart rate variability. Anyone who has a smartphone, if you go on there, it's marked off as a stress. You could test to see how stressed you are. Well, the technology behind that is HRV. And how HRV works, it measures the space in between the beats. So if you ever checked your blood pressure before, it may say it should be 80 beats per minute, for example, but some people is 90, some people is 100, which is too fast, of course. But HRV is not checking the beats per minute. It's checking what is the space in between the beats. Okay?
Interesting.
So when you do, anyone who has a smartphone who checks their stress level, it tells you your HRV score. So you guys could check today and see what it is. And so I call that the score now of soul alignment, meaning how aligned are you with your purpose? How aligned are you with your truth? How aligned are you with forgiveness? Because all of it shows up on HRV. So HRV, if the HRV is high, okay, it is one of the best, if not the best, non-evasive ways. It ties to longevity. In other words, if your HRV is high, which is a good thing, your risk for chronic lifestyle diseases are less based on the existing research. If HRV is low, meaning that the space in between the beats are not cohesive, I'm getting a who's calling me now? My God, hold on. Right, the space in between the beats are not cohesive. It's low, and then that means now that you are more prone to chronic lifestyle diseases, including cancer. So the soul has two separate currents. It's an energetic, I call it, your soul has the energetic requirement for your cells to function. All the studies prove it now. But you see, because you had different areas of science who studied this, so HeartMath Institute studied various ways on how the heart affects your health, okay, in using specifically heart rate variability. You have neuroscience that studies, you have psychology that studies on different aspects, on forgiveness, on truth, how it affects you. All we know is that Bruce Lipton had a really good book called Biology of Belief. But what we're saying now is if we go above that now, it's not just biology of belief now we're saying, or placebo effect that tells you if you trick the mind and say to the mind that I'm giving you a pill of the actual drug in one group and then give the other group a pill with sugar, okay, they would see, for example, that the pill they lied to, they show good response. So what it shows is the mind has power. But once the mind knows it's a lie, then the effect wears off.
That makes
But
sense.
remember, I am for the last 18 years in my clinic, I am a functional blood chemistry practitioner, among other things. And so I've been looking at blood work. I've been saying when I help to connect people back to their soul, their purpose, their true life that they are meant to live. One particular client had something called a goiter. Her hair is usually swollen. Have you ever seen someone and you see a big, like a big ball?
There's a big swell under the neck.
Right, that's thyroid. That swollen thyroid is called a goiter. This was back in 2015. I worked with her, and she came back into her second session for me time, which is what I call my process. The second session, it was half the size. I didn't give her iodine. I didn't give her CMOS. I didn't give her anything except what I now call soul supplements or soul nutrition. You see? So I am saying chiology is the first science to connect, to acknowledge the mystical side of the soul that science cannot measure as yet. Maybe one day they can, okay? Not all things science is meant to measure. They can't measure a dream. They measure intuition, so they know that seconds before they show you an image that your heart actually knows before the brain. But in society and science, we have positioned the brain or mind as king in your body. But it's not so. We have many other intelligence at work. For example, your B cells and T cells remember without a brain about chicken pox you got when you was a child. This is how vaccine works, of course, to give you a small trace of the virus so that the T cells or B cells will remember the virus.
Mm-hmm.
You see? So you might forget your keys, but your B cells doesn't forget the disease it conquered before, what we call the pathogens. It may be not just that, it sees without eyes. So if a parasite enters your body, you have special type of white blood cells called eosinophils, for example, that attack the parasite. You have, if it's cancer cells, you have natural killer cells. These are not logical things. This is an intelligence now that remembers and sees without you.
It's within the body. That's what you're saying.
Right, but how can the mind be king without us understanding that this electrical current that animates us, the people of Kmetic called it Ka. And in Kmetic, Ka was tied to Ma'at, which is the divine order that says truth and reciprocity is completely linked to biology. So Imhotep would treat patients first with what he would call truth medicine. He would align them back to Ma'at. They had to say Ma'at, 42 laws, every single day. And then he would proceed to give them herbs. He would interpret their dreams, which I do as well. And he would get the person back into balance first. And then herbs are used as a complementary medicine. So he practiced what I call soul first wellness, which in the wellness space today does not exist, you see. So we are now creating a new form of wellness to say is not what you do most, because most people, they look to see what's the best herb, best supplement, what's the best wonder drug. They're going downstream now. They're not asking the question, why am I sick in the first place? When all of my intelligent parts of myself, including my immune system, can see cancer and kill it. It could remember a virus and never forget it, even when you forget your keys. It only breaks down when truth is absent, forgiveness is not practiced, when you are ignoring your purpose, saying, well, I'll do it next year, or I wouldn't make enough money if I do it, you know. So you brush purpose aside for money, but eventually it catches up with us, you know, because it's like an ache in your heart. It's like a pain that you can't get to go away. It's like a memory of yourself that keeps coming back. And instead of facing it, we say tomorrow, next week. In my case, I know that very well because I did that many times. And
I think we all procrastinated, or whatever the fancy word they want to call it.
So chiology is the world's first restoration of Kmetic science, ancient sciences, that in my practice, I was able to validate the logic of that thinking. I was able to find and put in my book many, many studies that validate that thinking, except that those areas of science, they never got together. They never asked the question, well, why is it that purpose extends life by 7 years? Why is it that truth seems to affect your health?
That's interesting.
Why is it
That is
that a
interesting.
lie hurts the biology? These are all existing studies. I didn't do them, but they all point to a deeper question. If this animating force in us, we call soul, in Kemet they call it Ka, it seems as though very clearly that it requires ma'at or morality for humans to flourish. It requires it. So therefore, it is not that God exists outside of us in the sense that God is, if we look at the concept of God and what God represents truth and reciprocity and love. So it seems as though that current that animates us, that magic that makes us walk and talk and gives us a personality and gives everybody a different purpose, by the way, that is essentially the glue now that connects all of those different studies, be it studies on truth, studies on forgiveness, studies on how purpose extends life more than any supplements, is just truly amazing. And so I said, well, why is it there's no study of the science? Why isn't soul science discussed? And so I've created now a lane. I am now working with a medical doctor. We are launching the first study on soul science. We should have a published paper in 6 months. Of course, I've been doing the work all the time. So I know, for example, exactly what we're going to see because I've seen people heal. I had, for example, a client who was constipated going off once per week. And one session, while doing the session with me, she felt to go off. And after that, she went off every day after that without Cascara Sagrada, without Senna. So I said, hang on, how could soul supplements be so powerful? And they work instantly, by the way. They don't take long to work. They work instantly. But we have to
But that's all
acknowledge.
organic. That's all organic, though.
That's
It
the
comes from
thing.
within.
That's the thing. That's the only supplement we have that's for free, by the way. It's not just as free, it's the best supplements to take. And it's a supplement that if you do not take it, when you take it, it heals. And when you don't, it hurts. So it's a kind of like, it's a magic thing. But even though this song is very simple, we are locked into our brain, okay? So we have parts of the brain that keeps us away from soul supplements, that keeps us away from soul nutrition, even though we know we should be taking them. So let me just break that down for our viewers tonight. We have 4 parts of what we call the subconscious mind. All of this is in chapter 3, soul set versus mindset. And these 4 parts, I'll just talk about 2 now. The amygdala, which I call Amy in the book, because I teach you neuroscience now in a simple way, so we can really understand ourselves. When we say subconscious mind, it sounds something that is not physical, okay? The amygdala is where we store fear and doubt. It's a physical part of your brain, okay? When we talk about the basal ganglia, that's where habits and routines are. So, even though we know what the right thing is, at age 7, most of what we do today has been locked in at 7 years old. So this is why change is so difficult, because the amygdala, even when there is no fear, so for example, if either on your screen or mine, a lion were to appear, you or me would essentially find I would say, almost instantly jump and run, because the amygdala sounds the alarm danger, and then cascading hormones come like cortisol and adrenaline to make you fast, to make you run as faster than you ever can, to numb your pain. Endorphins will numb your pain. So in that moment, you wouldn't feel any pain and so on, okay? Now, if there's no lion in the room, but you're still behaving as though it's a lion, because let's just assume that let's assume I'm afraid of speaking or public speaking. So now that's an invisible lion, and I'm nervous while I'm talking to you. So the amygdala now is behaving in that way. It keeps me from being calm and from really, getting the information across so that people can really understand it. Okay? Now, I'm not sure why. I keep asking the question, how come this wasn't done before? But it wasn't. Nobody ever said soul first. Nobody ever said soul first wellness. No one ever said that soul and science in the modern time needs to be married, because when you talk about clairvoyance or people bending spoons with their mind, it's the same power we call it soul. But when you have different names for soul, even in the alternative space, sometimes we credit the universe for what should be credited as your soul. Because remember, your soul intelligence is within you. Your soul, while you sleep, travels at night and goes into any part of the universe it wants to. It goes in the future or the past, and we call it deja vu. Not all of us remember what we dream, and this is why before you go to bed, never ever watch TV, especially before you go to bed. The last thing you should see before you go to bed is the moon or the stars. This is where stargazing, our ancestors did it. It helps your melatonin to be increased. It helps to prepare your soul to travel. It shows your soul where to travel. You see. But when you look at screens now the mind is active, and you start to replay stuff on the mind, and so you wake up dreaming what you looked at rather than where you want your soul to go while you sleep. Because your soul solves problems for you while you sleep, if you know how to prime it to do those things. So my book helps people to put soul back into every aspect of their life. Let me just give you some quick, you get my notes here to tell you how that translates. So chapter 1, of course, is part memoir, but chapter 2, which I started talking about now, is the science of the soul. And then chapter 3, we say soul set versus mindset, because mindset says money first, success first, okay? But your soul says it wants you to be happy. It doesn't want you to be rich and lonely. It doesn't want you to be rich and miserable. It wants you to be rich and happy and practice reciprocity so that your health shines, okay? Then we have chapter 4, which we are introducing another amazing new metric called KQ, which we call Ka quotient. Again, Ka means soul. What does that mean? It means before we had IQ, now we have EQ, which is emotional intelligence, but now we have KQ. What does that mean? Again, that means that we now have questions to measure intelligence, and that intelligence has two benefits. It tells me how intuitive you are. It also tells me your state of health, because if you score high on the KQ quiz, which I should have up and running by next week, then it means that your HRV is high, correlates with HRV. All the questions in KQ are based on existing research and research that I am also about to launch, but it's based on my knowledge validated by existing research. So KQ is game changing. It's going to be the biggest portion of them all. IQ just tells you how smart you are. EQ tells you how well you manage your emotions, but KQ tells you how good are you at managing life holistically.
Hold up, repeat all of that again. IQ says what?
IQ tells you how smart you are.
Got it.
EQ is emotional intelligence. A buzzword now, emotional intelligence. KQ is soul intelligence. Which intelligence do you think is the most powerful in a human?
I would imagine it's the soul.
But now, as I said, we can measure soul in biology. We can also measure soul in flow states, because someone cannot get into a flow state unless they are in their purpose. But some people don't know what their purpose is. So that's where we use now the science of soul anatomy to find out what their car number is and their bar number, which the bar is the personality of the soul. In Kemet, the bar was shown as a bird, because that part of the soul in Kemet, they said, that is what flies when you are asleep and sees the future, and then comes back in your body.
Now,
And it's very it's interesting. It's interesting because remember your vital energy. If all of it leaves you, you'll be dead. So they knew that the car was separate. The car keeps the power going, and the bar travels, and then dreams and tells you. Go ahead.
I got an example here. There's a person named Divine Love 8702. She's born on March the 4th. So, the first thing you get, do you get the car first or the bar first?
I get the bar first. She is born in what month?
March
April.
the 4th. March the 4th. Yeah, March 4th.
So we add 3 months to that. We're looking at April, May, June. So her bar is 5.
Right, because June is represented by Mercury. Mercury's rules are number 5. That's how you got that.
So what her bar tells me is for her to be creative, for her to learn, she needs to be in an environment of freedom. Anytime she's in a place that is boxed in and that her imagination cannot run wild, her soul is not comfortable.
So the bar is tapping into the soul.
The soul itself, because remember that when the egg met the sperm, in science, we see a zinc flash occurring. That zinc flash is the moment that the soul enters the body. This is more important than your birthday, because that day marks the magic that made you. The magic that made you is the most important thing. The day that you're born is also important, but is not as important for many reasons. You see?
Question. You're born in June. Would your bar be September, which is number 5?
Yes. So me and that person has the same number in terms of bar.
Interesting. Right. Okay.
Right.
Okay.
So now, from an intimacy perspective, because it also tells me, it gives me the intimacy profile. So that person, let me not give the intimacy away, but it tells me if I were to send them the intimacy profile, their boyfriend or husband.
And I've read the profiles. I've read the profiles. It's amazing. It's amazing. I mean, seriously.
Yeah. It literally tells you how they want to be pleased down to the detail, but not just that, how they want to be loved down to the detail. But I have other aspects, because Ib, for example, IB, is the heart in Kemet, and we were able to tell them the Ib number. What the Ib number tells me is how they love. If they love in a connected way, if they hold on to things in their heart, it tells me how their heart works. So it's very, very metaphysical how these readings are. But
so what's the car? What's the car then? So we got the car.
Right. So her car, 8 and 8, that's
she's
one.
1989, the year of the 2709.
Right. So then her car would also
would still be a 5.
Will still be a 5. Yes, correct.
Yes.
So what does that mean now? So her car being a 5 tells me that the car is the primary purpose. So in numerology, okay, we will know, for example, that someone who is 1, 2, 3 to 9, if they're born on that day, then that tells us that their talents is different to purpose. And in your lifetime, you have many different things that counts as your purpose. You see? So when your car is a 5, it means that people who are 5s or Geminis tend to be always in a way mystically attracted to this person, and they would have some significance in their life at some point in time, not just regular, but those are the people that may help to nudge them into that direction. People they look up to, people who inspire them tend to be around that number. This is somebody whose purpose is literally to help others and to serve others. That's part of their divine purpose. And that purpose can be expressed in multiple different ways in their life. So that's where the other numbers now become important on their birthday, because then reading the actual car tells me how to interpret their talents and how they should best use it to get to their full potential. But there are other things as well, because the heart is important. Because if your heart, because now we know the heart number, the Ib number, which is the spiritual side of the heart, that tells me what they are passionate mostly about. And their heart has to be in the game so that their purpose and that their bar now, meaning the environment that they're in, the bar tells me, for example, someone who on their purpose, they know what their purpose is, their car.
Mm-hmm.
And then they know what the Ib number is, which tells me basically how their heart interacts with the environment, what they actually love and how they love. But their bar, which is the environment they're in, either the relationship or friendship suffer, the bar suffers. So in Kemet, what Imhotep did is he tried to align all these parts of the soul, which is the Ka, the Ba, the Shiut, which is the shadow of the soul, the lessons they have to learn, the Ib, which is the heart itself, how they love, what they're passionate about. And then you have Sekhem, which is the main power. So we have to have all those parts aligned for the person to get to their full power Sekhem. And once we do readings now, we're able to show people that exactly. And then tie it back now to their birthdays. It's such an amazing and
Well,
it's
let me
all
ask you this. I want to take this birthday. This person is born in September. So would their bar be in December,
a
which is
tree. It would be a tree, yeah.
okay?
Yeah.
So they're
yeah.
born in the year of 70, which is the year of the 8. So 8 plus 3 is 2, or 11 or 2. So their bar is a 3 and their car's a 2. Is that what you're saying? Would I have that
Yes,
right?
so 7 and 1 is 8. And then 8 and
So
3
he's
is
born in
11
the year
is
of the
2.
8. Yeah.
Yeah. You're born in
So
8,
his
yeah. So
bar's
8
a
and yeah.
3, his car's a 2.
Yes.
But they're gonna have to buy your book to find out what that means, right?
Yeah, well, this book doesn't have those readings. That's another book coming.
Oh man.
But what I can say about this person is Bobby in a tree is now this is the funny thing now. In numerology, he's a 9, right? He's born on the 9th, right?
He's born on the 10th. I
Or
think he's born the same day as your dad was born. That's your father's birthday, right?
yes, it is actually. It
Yeah,
is.
September 10th. Yeah,
Yeah,
I remember.
yeah.
I met your dad.
So
Okay.
so he's a 1. So 1s and 2s are different, we would say. But because his car is a 2, it means that he's someone who is very deeply spiritual and also has that kind of a seer thing about him, right? But his purpose is literally healing people as well.
He's an
That's
astrologer.
that's his biggest purpose is healing people. But his numbers don't say that. There, it doesn't say that's his purpose, but that's his purpose. He's a healer. No,
Okay, go ahead.
his bar, which is 3 now, tells me the way he likes to be loved and the type of people he wants to surround himself with. It also tells me how he learns best in environments. So he needs people around him to not praise him, but to recognize his work, to make him feel as though his worth is effecting the change he wants it. He needs to hear that. It's not because of his ego, it's because of his bar. That type of tree person needs to be recognized for their work. They need to hear it. Not everyone needs to hear it. So it's not as though he needs a cheerleading squad, no. But I'm saying when he has the encouragement, he functions better. The feedback is what he needs. He needs the feedback. Now, from a love for anyway, I don't want to put his love out there, but you saw the bar readings. They're very, very, very
yeah. I bear witness. I was shocked. It's like,
but numerology and astrology gives a reading, but what I call car numerology tells you more than just your reading. It tells you about your purpose and then how to get all the aspects of your soul into alignment. So it's more of a prescription than a reading. You see?
Okay, I got one more. I got to try this now. This person, Mark Matthews, and in fact, we had a conversation earlier this week. He's born in August.
The eighth
So
month.
his
Yeah.
bar would be in a 9. It would be in November, right?
Correct.
And November is a 9. So his bar is a 9.
Right.
So then when I add his year, which is the year of the 5,
Yes.
his bar, which
You'll
is
get
9.
5.
So his bar's a 9 and his car's a 5.
Yes.
So when you
Yes.
gonna write the book, man?
So let me tell you some of him now. Anybody in his life, right? Anybody in his life, what you will find whenever the bar, you see, the bar is a spiritual spark when you came, okay?
Got you.
So he's going to find that November is always going to be a month that's very important for him, and people in his life that guides him at that, not just guides him to money, but guides him to purpose, are going to always be 9s. Either somebody who is in April or somebody from November or somebody who is a 9. He's always going to find 9 very significant in his life, and that number is his guiding light through his life. That's another way that we ask people to look at it. It's like a guiding light because it is a guiding light. It even tells me the kind of dreams people have as well, by the way. So 9 bars that are 9s tend to dream very, very deeply about things, and their dreams tend to be very, very real. This of course assumes that his pineal gland isn't calcified from food and poor diets, but assuming all things being equal, people who bar number 9, they tend to have very, very real-like dreams, and their visions is very clear because 9 is as you know, the second most spiritual, and I would say is probably equal to 7 in that regard. But they tend to be very clear. And in terms of spirituality and their friends and people that surround them, it's very easy for them to give far more of themselves than they want because their bar cannot be around needy people.
Interesting.
It will drain them completely. If they ever want to have no energy, just surround them by people who always need something. And I don't even mean money. I mean just people who, can't get their life together and keep coming to them with the same issues over and over. They will be completely drained.
And keep using him. That's what you're saying.
Yes.
I have another question. What happens? I know a person now in my head, their bar is a 6 and their car is a 6. What does that mean?
Right. So when we start seeing those things line up like that now, we know that person. Now, 6, as you know, is a family number. 6 is a number that people always who are 6s, like the fact that his bar and car is 6, that person, their friends, they tend to hold on to friends far longer than they need to because the friendship itself becomes part of their healing. And when we see 2 6s like that, it means that they really have to listen to their soul, because if they don't select the right people around them, they're really not going to have their soul medicine. Their soul supplements will be affected because love is very important to them, and it's important for them to understand that because their purpose is surrounding family. Their core purpose in life is to get family right. Not just the immediate family, but also the family in the community, because 6 is not just about the immediate family, 6 is about community as well. So it's important to understand that. So then when those prompts come from the soul, what they would usually say is, I'm done with people. So when they say that, oh my God, the light's out now, because their soul requires them to get this people thing right.
I have one more just as a point. One of my relatives, their bar is a 9, but their car is an 8.
Right. So 8 cars.
One in the year, yeah. So it's a 9 bar, 8 car.
Right. So 8 car, just like 8, their purpose is literally to structure every living thing around them. So 8s, just like Capricorns, they are structure people. They cannot function without structure. I had somebody who had a car 8, and his whole life, he's always telling people exactly what to do. They always give people advice on structure, how to structure their life, how to structure money. Their soul requires it from them, by the way. To other people who know them, they may say, this person always trying to tell me what to do. But it is literally their purpose to provide structure for the community. You see, in Kemet, the car always speaks to your community, what you have to do for the community. That number. You see, is not your soul is not just for you. Your soul is for the community. I don't think people really understand that. In order for your soul to be whole, you cannot isolate. So every car number tells me what your soul requires you to do for the community for you to be whole. So this is why it's different from a normal reading, because their car tells me that they will strive, their soul rises when they help to structure themselves and their environment. And if they don't, so when I meet those people, I really help them a lot. Some of them, they really struggle because they get criticized for trying to provide structure, or because they have lack of structure and they tried so long and didn't get it right, they give up. And then that's it for them too, because either way, the soul doesn't respond unless you do what it requires you to do.
Well, let me say this. When you first brought this to me, as long as I've been doing numerology, and I mean in depth, I told you I never heard of this concept. How did you come upon this in the first place?
Well, remember I told you, when your foot is broken and you're flat on your back for some time, you said to me when I told you that I broke my leg, you said that, when people go through these things, something great usually happens. What I know for sure now is that in crisis, your soul voice is the loudest, because I couldn't even watch TV. I needed silence. So I literally stayed in a room for most of the day, and so many things started coming to me, Lloyd. It's just insane. I just started getting visions on things, and then chiology came to me, and I was doing the work all the time, but I didn't put it together. And then when I started researching Ka and Ba and Kmetic, I asked the question, how do you work out these numbers? And I didn't make a mistake. Every code I got to unlock a number, it was correct. And when I tested it, it was 100% correct. It wasn't 99% correct. It was 100% correct. Especially when we started getting onto the Ka, the Ba, the Ib, the lessons they have to learn in their life.
You taught me how to get it. You taught me how to find the bar in the car.
Yeah. Now, in your experience now, how accurate are the readings?
I would say extremely accurate. Extremely accurate. And especially in the love part and the intimate part. When you ran some samples by me, I was amazed.
Yeah.
It's like not bad for a guy that broke his leg in two places, whatever the case is.
No, it was quite an experience for me. I literally felt as though I wasn't myself for 3 months. I felt like 3 months of the 4 months of my recovery. Well, now it's more than that. Now it's because this happened January 14th. It happened actually, and since then I'm not the same. I'm still not the same. I recovered much faster than normal half the time, but I'm still not my old self. That part of me speaks much louder now. And I will say that this journey of writing the book brought me so much closer to my soul voice, which I call my car voice. And my passion now is to help people unlock that. And we have every single tool now. We have KQ as a quiz you can take. We have journals called the Master 24 Soul Set Journal, which the whole sole purpose of the journal is to help you to figure out the 3 places where thoughts come from. So in the book, I talk about these 3 places the thoughts come from and 3 places we speak from. These are all brand new concepts. I also have a soul intelligence decision-making chart in the book in chapter 3. But let me just share very quickly with your viewers, because this is so important. So one of my clients asked me, how do you know the difference between your soul voice, fear voice, and logical voice? These are 3 different voices or thoughts.
Soul, fear, and logic. That's what you're saying. Okay.
Right. So I said to them, your soul speaks repeatedly. Not when your soul speaks, there's no fear in the gut. You don't feel it in the gut. You don't feel any tightness in your chest when your soul speaks. When the amygdala speaks, which is fear, you feel it in your gut and your heart literally tightens. In other words, you know, somebody, maybe you're walking down the road, right? And your mind told you cross the road. Okay. You say, well, which mind? Is it my intuition asking me to cross the road, or is it my amygdala? is it fear? Okay. So what we in the journal we see to mark down on a daily basis when your soul voice was correct, when your intuition was correct, and when it was wrong. Because thoughts come from three places. Logic may say, okay, I have to go to work today. That's logic. Your soul voice will say, no, that's not a good idea to go to work today. And then you follow that voice, and then you hear it maybe, you know, there was something happened bad when you should have been there. So
Sure.
that's intuition.
Sure.
It wasn't fear, because it wasn't as though you're afraid of going to work. So it wasn't the amygdala, you see. So I show that there's three different places thoughts come from, and we have to define them so that we can trust and develop our understanding of which voice is talking. And the voice isn't really talking, it's just knowings, you know, you just know, or you have a nudge or a feeling about something. And then we have three different places we speak from. So I created this word called conversations. Ka, of course, means soul. So what is a conversation? So today people talk, they have bullets and points. Remember when Rome conquered Greece, they perfected something called rhetoric or debate culture, which we see in every political cycle. You have the left and the right. And even though they may both have good points, but everyone is coming to the argument with points. And then we have multiple points, we call them bullets. This is warfare, really, okay? So now, how does that trickle into our life now? When we are talking to loved ones, are we debating? Are we debating? Or are we seeking balance? Are we? What we're doing is we are applying rhetoric to loved ones, because if we have a disagreement, we are taught to come to it with bullets and points. Conversations say, imagine that the other person's heart is in your hand. Don't come with bullets and points. Put down the guns. Okay. Conversations is basically soul talk. And we are saying there's three places to speak from. You can speak from logic, which is points, okay, and bullets. You can speak from Amy, which is fear, which usually sounds angry, because when you speak from fear, it really doesn't sound good. Or you can speak from your soul and from your heart. But no one ever did that definition. Even in psychology, there's no chart that says that. We created those charts in chapter 2 and 3. Chapter 3 has so much value by itself. Is worth the entire book, because I teach people how to master where their thoughts coming from and which thoughts to listen and which thoughts to say. If it's Amy talking, Amy the amygdala, is to say, Amy, not today, right?
Well,
So
which book is coming out next week? You got a book coming out next week. Is what you talked about, is in that some of that book that's going to be out next week?
Yes. This book is coming out. The book is done now. What I'm doing now is just getting the journal finished and some minor things, but I could say today it's done. It's brilliant, if I can
No,
say
it's a
so
brilliant
myself.
concept, Jenna. I've been doing this for more than a New York Minute. Trust me, this is brilliant. And in fact, there is blissfully evolving. She gave a donation. I thank her. She's born on August the 22nd in 1858. Not, of course, she meant 1958. Okay. But now, let me say this. If she's born in August, that means her bar is 9.
Yes.
Right?
Mm-hmm.
So she's born in the year of the 5, because 1958 as a 23, 2 plus 3 is. So
Yep.
her bar is a 9.
It's 9. The
And
car
her
is
car
5.
is a 5.
Interesting.
So what would you say for her?
Well, again, the car in Kmetic is the sole purpose. And
That
the
is
purpose,
that is when you get that second digit, not the first one.
yes.
Okay.
5 are community people. I don't think people realize that. 5s are people who bring the community together. The reason why fives are so important for community building is because they can see the both sides of things. In numerology, we may say, for example, Gemini is bipolar, but in chiology, in Kemet, five represents duality. It represents seeing the both sides of something. So this is why
Makes sense. Makes sense.
fives are really healers. People don't realize that. And the reason why they're healers because they're good listeners and they see things they have that gift of seeing things on both sides. Now,
So what about her bar?
her bar tells me that the way it well, you see, now you're going into the love part of bar. Let me just tell her this from a love perspective. Any man
Yes.
who is with her needs to know that she requires a very deep level of intimacy. She don't want one night nothings. She need a deep spiritual connection. And if she does not get that, she's not in the game. She is the kind of woman who could literally, what I say to people in Kemet, sex was your highest level of spirituality. So in chapter 6 in the book, I talk about cosmic intimacy, which essentially is how they used to see intimacy in Kemet. Because sexuality gets you to second, which is your full power. And in that full power, you could create what you want with it. So her bar being a 9, her spirit literally, the power she has to create with whoever she's with is about the highest on the scale. And this is why she treats sexuality and intimacy with such reverence. You see, so the man or husband or whoever she's with needs to understand that about her, because if that is not being fed, her bar is not going to be happy. Her bar also is very spot on with dreams. She's very highly intuitive. She senses things. She knows things more so than other people because her bar is very much dynamic in nature. The environments that her bar would strive best in and that she would learn best in are always environments that are outdoor by waterfalls or nature. So those things would speak to her bar the most. That's where she feels alive the most. So
when
these
is
are
this
things.
book coming out?
That book is coming out, I would say, by the end of this year, by December. I have an app that's coming out with it, as you know.
Very good. Very good. Very good. Because you were the one that encouraged me to get an app. Okay. Help me design it and everything. Help me even pick the name.
Yeah.
So I really honor you. It's amazing. The time is almost up, man. It's like seems like we've only been talking about 15, 20 minutes.
Yeah, it does.
But I will ask you this though. What if here's the question that she also asked, I think, it's the same question she asked before about in the meta network, isn't the bar the soul character and the car the spirit or life force?
Correct.
And how do you relate them?
She's very correct. So
the
bar is what dreams and travels at night. Is the personality of the soul. Yes.
Okay.
So a soul personality is a 9. Okay. Now your personality, which of your soul, is different from the personality of your number, which is the day that you're born, is different from the month that you're born. This is why we say the soul personality tells me the type of your closest friends, how they must be with around you. So, for example, I said before, if your bar is a 9, your bar is happiest when you are around people who are not asking you of anything, or that people who are feeding you as much as you're feeding them. So it tells me the environment, the personality that your bar requires. Now, when that personality is there, then the bar travels and dreams more. This is why the readings are different, because it is an energetic reading that tells me that tells the person the environment they have to be in, not just for the car. Now, the car is the main life force, but your purpose came with your car, because the car is the main animating force and has the secrets to what your so-called destiny or purpose is. And again, that purpose.
I got one more question.
Mm-hmm.
So in the case where I gave an earlier example, when the bar and the car are the same number, does that mean anything? per
Yes,
se when it's a double number?
yes. It just tells me that in that particular person where it was 6 and 6, that their purpose is mending and healing and creating strong families. And because their bar now is also a 6, their personality means that they have to be surrounded by people who are genuine friends. Again, people who love them freely. If not, they will find that they will hold on to those people more than they need to, because their bar really needs it for them to be happy, for the soul personality to function properly. You have to understand, this is not the physical person now. No. This is
Now,
the soul.
a question: could you therefore? Are you in are you in this book at some point near this year? There's a dog that's barking. I got a neighbor. That dog is the most tedious dog in the planet, and it be barking all over the place. So if y'all hear some dogs in the background, he's like that. Okay, like that.
Oh my God.
Anyway, do you have it whereby you, let's say this person was a bar 9 with a 5, and then I'm a 6 and a 6. Do you do compatibilities like that per se?
Yes, yes. So what we do
That's in
now
the
in
book.
yes, no, not in this book. In this book, I do talk about cosmic intimacy in chapter 6. I do give a little bit of it in chapter 6, but it's very complex. It really is. But the idea of it is there. But the whole idea of it, of car numerology, is to make all of the soul parts align. That is the
Mm-hmm.
purpose. So I just, even though we're doing Khan bar now, equally important is the shield, which is the shadow of your soul, the lessons you have to learn in life that keeps repeating. Equally as important is the ib, which tells me your passions, how you love, and that kind of thing. And then that tells me what your second is, which is your full power, right? Second is seen as a female with a lion's head. It's your main power. Second could be related to Chinese saying chi, or the Indian saying prana, right? So for us to get to full power, the car, the bar, the heart, the soul lessons, the shoot has to be addressed, because this is how Imhotep and Kemet understood the soul biology. Because remember, your soul is an energy. That's what power you need to be alive. So if the power behind you isn't satisfied, then you're not going to feel like a whole person anymore. So once we get people spiritual soul self to be in alignment, their health absolutely becomes in alignment. And then they don't manifest now. We say car creation. Why I don't say manifest is this. I have nothing against manifestation. But manifestation says it's not specific to morality. Because I could manifest something that is not aligned with my soul. In Kemet,
Uh-huh.
they had no word for manifestation. In Kemet, everything was alignment. So now I say car creation, because I want to create what my soul wants me to create. My soul don't care about a car or a house. My soul knows, and your soul knows, that if you follow your purpose, the car and the house and whatever else you want will happen. But it is not your purpose, because you can't go in a grave with your car and your house. But when you go in a grave and you fulfill your purpose, okay, you will be remembered in eternity for that purpose. You will not be remembered
And
for
not for the
6
car
months.
you bought or the house you
No,
lived
nobody reads a eulogy and says, "Oh, she was a good person because she had this nice car and this nice house," or he had this. No, nobody cares. So your soul knows. but you
Point taken. Okay.
but
Point
you see,
taken.
in the culture we have now, the manifestation culture is we don't consider soul. But
Not
the
at all.
soul,
Not at
no,
all. In
no.
fact, it's more about hate, disharmony. All to me, those things would do just the opposite of what you were saying at the very beginning of this interview. That truth, honesty, having a purpose. That was the first thing that came out of your mouth. Having a purpose just extends the life at least an average of 7 years.
7 years, longer than any intervention.
So if you don't have a purpose, you cut your life short by several years. Then is that what you're
Of
saying?
course, of course. But we see that in the real world as well. If it was not for medical interventions, many people in business who put everything off, they would have been dead already. So many of them who are alive now did heart surgeries and did so many different things to keep them going. They had to go to a doctor. But if you live soul first, you don't have to have all these interventions.
That is
Yours
so deep, Jenna. And it's so simple. And it don't cost no money.
it costs no money.
It don't cost no
It
money.
don't cost a thing. But you have to understand your heart is a spiritual thing. Your heart has 40,000 neurons. Your heart knows before the brain knows. And this is why in Kemet, you had to weigh the heart. When they would mummify someone, they would throw away the brain. The brain was not important. The heart had to be weighed on the scale of my heart with a feather. So this is why I say to people, when you have a bad relationship, don't keep anyone in mind. Open your heart, speak from your heart, have a conversation, speak from your soul, and get your heart light every day, piece by piece. I'm telling you, your HRV scores would sing, and your longevity just goes naturally. You don't need to run to supplements and to all these different. The only time you need to supplement is when the soul energy is broken.
Listen, I can go further with this because this is juicy about a minute. But I will say one thing. And let's say a person says, well, how do I find my soul? And I'll leave it at that as we wrap this up. So for a person who feels they don't know their soul, what their soul is, what is one of the guides to help them say, well, this is one of the processes of how you find your soul, if that makes sense?
I would say get the book Soul First, Master 24 Hours, Master Life. Has 12 chapters that teaches you in detail exactly what the soul is. From a biological perspective, it teaches you what the soul is from a metaphysical perspective. And the reason why science has never talked soul is because they separated the metaphysical parts that they could not. You see, science doesn't like something it cannot prove, right? So all the metaphysical parts of soul, dreaming, intuitions, many people shut them down. They don't want to be called obia people, they don't want to say.
Yeah,
If you tell someone something is gonna, so they don't want to be labeled that, so they shut it down. But that in Kemet, in every ancient civilization, the seer was revered, the oracle was revered.
And respected and sought after and kept in close contact.
And the US government spent millions of dollars to hire seers in Stargate to spy on Russia and other places and vice versa. And I'm sure, I don't want to say this anyway publicly, but the fact is, we know that they have weaponized soul for their own purpose. At least they try to. But nonetheless, this is soul is my purpose now. Like soul first, Lloyd. I'm telling you, this book is going to be referenced forever. It's a new field of science. We are doing the studies now. I am not taking it lightly at all. I'm going to go do a PhD with this soul science because we need to have it in academia. It is now important for our community, for all communities, but for Black people, it gives them a connection back to their culture. The same way you have Ayurvedic, and now you have Chinese medicine, now you have chiology, which is African-centered soul science. So we now have a rebirth of and a scientifically proven method now that is based on ancient Kemet, that is 100% African in its origin. And every Black person everywhere in the world now can see that chiology is ours. So this is why I'm taking it very seriously. Again, I have a doctor we're going to study, do the first official study, publish work in 6 months, and then go further to get it into academia. So this is the birth of something really great. It's really, I'm overwhelmed.
Now, is this going to be an ebook? This book right here, Master 24 Hours, Master Life? Is it going to be an ebook?
It's going to be $99. Go ahead.
No, I was going to say, when we were on, you said for about the first week or two, if they get the ebook, they'll get it at a super discount price of only 99 cents.
Yes. So that starts on Monday. It
Well,
will be
hold
on
you to it,
Amazon.
man. That's Monday the 8th.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
I can't wait to get my book. I can't wait. I can't wait. But I want that Bar Car book. That which you shared with me a couple of months ago in the descriptions in terms of love and intimacy and personality. That was the most amazing thing.
Yeah.
So we'll have you back. Jenna, God bless you, man. This is nice. I suggest everybody get this book. Everybody in the Live with Lloyd family, because that's what I call my show, the Live with Lloyd family.
And I'm privileged to be part of it.
Yeah. And I will say this to everybody who's in the sound of my voice. It is this man next to me that really, when I went to visit him in Trinidad on 2 occasions, really turned my life around, although he did not know that, just like King Simon did. And as a result of my online classes, I'm in every continent. They're only 7, but I'm in all the continents, thousands of students. App, that phone app that you've been telling me. What is long it took you about a year and a half to finally convince me to do it?
Yeah, yeah. And
God bless
and
you
we
for
did
being
it.
consistent.
And we did it. We got it done.
Yes, we
And
did.
I want to tell you, Lloyd, that, I don't think the community, I know that the community really values your work. I just want to say that from my heart, your value is invaluable to the community. And I just want to congratulate you again for being consistent and for giving us the amount of knowledge for so many years. And I can see in you, you prove actually that soul science is real because you are alive and well and doing something that most people in their teens or 20s or 30s not even doing. So continue for your soul to shine for this community, to learn and to guide and to be part of your family. I think if I remember, your bar or car is a 6, I think. I think
Yeah,
your, was
both
it?
the sixes. Both the
Yeah.
sixes.
So you are, it's family.
Yeah,
And
because that's at the
family,
Live with Lloyd family. That's our
and
role.
that's it. It's family, and you've built such a great family. And you are in numerology. Aquarius is 4, so then 6 would have been your stress number. 6 is not your stress number. 6 actually is your soul requirement, and you have kept this family alive. And you are, as a part of the family. I just want to thank you for keeping the family together. It's very important.
Jenna, you the best, man. I will definitely have you back. We'll talk with well, Monday the 8th is when people are able to get his book on Amazon and print edition and also the ebook edition. Is that correct?
Yes, yes, yes.
Okay, I'm gonna call you Sunday night to make sure when I get on the show Monday. Okay, because I don't want them
I
calling
hope
me.
I hope my soul
Okay.
don't give me any more transmissions because I think it's done. I can't get any better like that. It's just so many things in this book will change your life. It is completely, when you put soul first back into everything, when you say soul first, when you put soul first into your manifestations, you put it back into love, you put it back into parenting. Chapter 7 is soul first parenting. And we have chapter 9, you can't label the soul, putting soul back into psychology. Psychology means soul. Psych actually means soul. We put soul back into time. We say not time management, soul alignment. That's chapter 11. And then we have soul revolution movement, talking about now that we have perfected soul, it's time to put soul back into the community. Now we start forming something called car circles, a concept I came up with, my soul showed me, which essentially says 12 people together can build a home for each other in 2 to 5 years, buy land and build homes. And I have the whole blueprint I'm going to give people for free. Because we have to start building circles that are functional in society, that prevents us from taking loans, and we can do it. And I worked on the maths. So it's exciting stuff. It's stuff that's going to change everything.
Yeah, well, all I can say is I'm glad I know you, man. Okay, and we family. You my baby brother. You know I claim you as my baby brother.
You have no problems because you are like my father. So, you know. So
Uchenna, thank
it's
you so much, man, for everything. God bless you. And
God bless you too.
I'm going to promote this book to the hilt. That's it. And in the meantime, all the best to your family and everything. Tell Jan and the kids, give them my love and everything too. All right.
Yes, and of course, thanks to all of you who I did readings with and who shared this time and space with us. I'm really thankful for having you here and and for being for our souls to be here together. It's great, you know.
Yeah, this was great. This was great.
Yeah.
Thanks so much, Senna.
All right.
Okay.
Take care.
That was a very enjoyable experience for me. And the fact that and by the way, I didn't even talk about he's the developer of a Ujuice, a remarkable organic Ujuice in 3 different flavors. I'll show you his juices. I got a couple of left. They're empty bottles, but I drunk them, but I'll show you. It's really nice. But I do want to thank him. And in fact, I did not show his chart, what this chart was, man. Hold up. Wait a minute. Chinna, did you go anywhere?
No, I'm here.
What was okay? First of all, this is it. What is this now? This is your soul
Right.
journey.
This is the Soul Set Journal. This is the journal we are launching. So this is where people essentially get to re-script their life, to have a tool to rewire their programming, because we were programmed in a way that keeps us dysfunctional. So I've created a way to help people to reconnect to their soul voice, because their soul voice, once we activate their purpose, then everything else downstream basically changes. Yeah.
Uh-huh.
So that's what this is about. It's called the Master 24 Soul Set Journal. So that's
Now,
what
what
this is,
about
the first
this?
page. And this is where they're going to track. This is the daily planner here. So you see on top here, you will see like a circle.
Yes.
In that circle, this is what we call the soul intelligence decision making. We say if all the parts say yes. So we say the car voice, the gut, if the heart says yes, if logic says yes, and then we say if all the parts says yes, then we make the proper decision. So I have all of everything I've done is here, so you can track everything, track your intuition daily, track your thoughts to see where the thoughts are coming from, if they're coming from fear, if they're coming from logic alone, or they're coming from your soul voice. So it's very intuitive for people to go through and to, you know, and to track it. So it's not just a book, it's a companion, because once you see soul first is the way to go, then we have to give it something. It's not automatic, you know. You need tools to get there.
Okay. I'm
Yeah.
going to say goodbye for the second time. I'm not going to
Yes.
hold you. You know, we could talk. We could talk.
I know.
That's how
I
we
know.
roll. Okay. God bless you, Chenna. All the
Bless you
best to you,
too.
man.
Bless you
All
too.
right.
Take care.
That was fun. I hope it was fun for you too. And I do want to let you know that today's sponsors are Nicholas Brooklyn at 1396 Fulton Street, celebrating over 50 years of being in business. They're having their summer closing at Nicholas Brooklyn at 1396 Fulton Street from 11 to 7 p.m. on this Friday, Saturday, and Sunday coming up. Also, Melinda Valentine's, although I think the sale ended, but when I got back from London, which I'll explain next week. But anyway, I think she might still be offering these, but there's her number at the bottom left. Okay. She does MTV, and she and a Biggie astrologer, they did a wonderful session last night on the Super Bowl. And the Super Bowl is not even nowhere near here. By the way, these are her 4 books on the elements. We're in an earth sign. Then next month, we'll be in the air sign of Libra. Then after that, we'll be in the water sign of Scorpio. Then after that, we will be in the fire sign of Sagittarius. So whether you're Sagittarius, Leo, or Aries, or whatever the case is, this is very important. By the way, she and Portia, who has also graced this show, are having a divine timing coming up on October the 11th. They'll be giving you more details about that. And I will have on the 15th my new sponsor. He's from India. He's going to talk about this AI app for small business owners that needs a reception in an AI fashion. I've tried it out. It's absolutely amazing, this technology. Also to Miss Kimberly on her Manifest on Purpose. Of course, she is a business astronumerologist. And so for those that like complimentary sessions with her, go to Kimberly, KIMBALEY.com, or you can now click on the QR code at the bottom right and actually order a book. Her book just came out a couple of days ago. It hasn't even been about 4 or 5 days yet, but it is now available on Amazon. So if you want to take a screenshot or get your camera and just do the QR code, and you go right to Amazon and you can order the book itself or order it on ebook. That's up to you. I'm glad to say for those who read the newsletter, it has been out. It hit the stands 2 days ago, or hit the emails 2 days ago. And of course, there's always an accompanying video that goes with the newsletter. So the way I write and the way I speak are two different things. Okay. So anyway, I think that's it. I want all of you to have a nice weekend. And I must thank Jazz Aphrodite and must mention her books, please, because she is the absolute best. She hung in there for me. And so when I was away, and so these are some of her books. I don't know where her other book is at the moment. But anyway, please get her books. And I do thank her very, very much. And I thank you too. I look forward to seeing you in a couple of days, okay? And you'll all have a nice day. And y'all take care, as they say, until then.